Hey guys, Hat Guy with the picks. It is Friday. Early, early, early morning. Let's see. Well, last night we gave the Bengals out. And we know what the Bengals did. They won and covered. I said it would be a comfortable home win, showing the rest of the country who the AFC champs still are. You know, prayers for Tua. In my opinion, he should have never been on the field last night, and I talked about that in my video. Like, you never know what can happen in an NFL game, and to see him take that headshot on the ground and for him to just freeze up like that as like a boxer getting knocked out with his feet in the air and the arms in the air was not a good scene at all. He was released from the hospital. He was discharged, thank God. Thank God. My personal opinion is they should have protected him in that game, and he shouldn't have been out there. They should have at least given him another week. It was just too quick of a turnaround. Long story short, we won and covered. Just like I told you guys, we would go to 14-5-2, and we are at 14-5-2, which moves us to 73.6% winners. Wow. That's what you guys got in your back pocket. You got a guy that's giving you 73.6% winners in football so far this year. And we haven't even hit our peak yet. That's the scary part. I know I told you guys on TikTok and YouTube yesterday that I was going to put out a college game to go with the NFL game yesterday. And just to let you guys in, just so that you do know, that game was the BYU game, which they were given 24.5 points in that game, and the line went off at 27. Well, I was informed there was 2 defensive players that were not starting last night in the game. And for some odd reason, the line moved up to 27 with 2 starters not playing, and they win by 12. First and foremost, I will never put out a pick that I wouldn't put my own money on. That game, with the information that I got about the defensive players not playing, I mean, it made it a scratch. If I would have forced that video out and just threw a dart at the wall, I would have felt terrible. But that's what it was. Tonight, we have the Washington Huskies traveling to UCLA. That's the number 15 Washington Huskies. They come in at 4-0, and UCLA is also 4-0. This line opened up at 3, -3 Washington. Right now it sits at Washington -2.5. The total opened up at 65, and it sits at 64.5. Like I said, both these teams are 4-0. UCLA last week, they beat Colorado. They beat Colorado 45-17. They were given 22 points in the game, and they covered. Out of the Power 5 conferences in the country, Colorado ranks as the worst team out of all 5 of those Power 5 conferences. They are the last team on the totem pole. The week before, UCLA beat South Alabama at home 32-31. They definitely didn't cover that one. And had Alabama State and Bowling Green before South Alabama. It's pretty safe to say UCLA's non-conference games were pretty much the easiest in the country. I don't know. I don't think it got any easier than what they played up to their first conference game. UCLA, they do have a stud quarterback, which is a dual threat. I'm sure you guys all know about him. Dorian Thompson-Robinson. On a year, he's thrown for 895 yards and 8 touchdowns and 1 interception. Good numbers. He's run for $177 with 2 more scores. Zach is their leading running back, and he's ran for 290 yards and 4 touchdowns. They really haven't faced anyone yet to say if their defense is good or bad. But if I had to make the call, I'd say their defense is below average. They were losing by 8 points going into the fourth quarter against South Alabama at home. UCLA, they do have some gaudy numbers. They average over 500 yards a game, and they average 42 points a game. On the other side of the field, well, we have the Indiana Hoosiers 1-2 from last year. We got Coach DeBauer and Michael Penix Jr. And they have been an absolute buzzsaw this year. I mean, they opened up with Kent State. They beat number 11 Michigan State at the time. They beat them by 11. They covered and beat Stanford by 18. Last week they beat Stanford by 18. They won and covered. All their games they've won, I mean, don't get me wrong, it makes it a little easier when you got Penix Jr. leading the country in passing. He's averaging 347 yards a game. He's only thrown 1 pick all year. Filkins leads the running back crew with 200 yards and 2 touchdowns. This Washington Husky offense, they rank 5th in the country in total offense and 12th in the country in scoring offense. Just to cut to the chase, this offense and team is the real deal. Real deal. They average 535 yards a game and 44 points a game, with much stiffer competition than what UCLA has seen so far up to this point. Washington is 4-0 against the spread in their last 4 overall, and they're 9-3 against the spread in their last 12 Friday games. UCLA, they're 5-2 against the spread in their last 7 overall, and they're 7-16-1 in their last 24 in September. Pitiful. And they're 0-5 against the spread in their last 5 Friday games. Pitiful. UCLA's defensive line, to say they have some injuries on that defensive line is putting it lightly. They have a bunch of injuries on the defensive line. And that's not going to help trying to get pressure to Penix at all. I don't think Washington needed any extra help in the first place. But by UCLA not having their full lineup on the defensive line is going to, they're going to suffer. They're definitely going to suffer. The edge in this game, where I see the biggest edge, the edge is the Huskies defense versus the Bruins defense. Washington gets check mark after check mark after check mark when it comes to the defensive side of the ball compared to UCLA. We will get a lot more stops than UCLA will get. And Washington scores almost 70% of their drives. So, I mean, you put that together, it's a real bad recipe for the home team on Friday night. Don't get me wrong, though. This should be it should be a great game to watch. I expect a good amount of points. If it's from one team or both teams, I expect a good amount of points. I expect UCLA's defense to be completely exhausted by halftime. Then I see Washington showing the country in the second half why they are ranked number 15th. Look for Washington's offense to be on full display on ESPN tonight. They're going to get a good conference road comfortable win against UCLA. Obviously, guys, you already know what the pick is. The pick is take Washington minus 2.5 points. I want to make a deal with you guys. The views are coming up a little bit, not exactly where I want them to be. I expected this squad and the guys that follow me, I expected to have more than what I have right now. You guys share this stuff on any other social media outlet that you have, and I will continue to give you winners. Real easy deal. Real easy deal. Leave a comment. Leave a thumbs up. We need to get the thumbs up to at least 100 ASAP. I mean, if we have 200 or 300 views, there is no reason that we shouldn't have at least 150, 200 likes for the video. It's been winter after a push here, a push there, a loss somewhere down the line. The views, the likes, and the comments. Leave a comment. Tell me a team or a game that you guys would like for me to sit down and look at maybe over the weekend. NFL game. Thank you guys. Without you guys, I don't do none of this stuff. Thank you for the subscriptions, the shares, the comments, the everything. Thank you guys, and you know who you are. Thank you guys for the tips. Greatly appreciated. Once again, it allows me to know that I'm doing something worth doing. Guys, I just asked you to continue what you do, and I'm going to continue what I do. We already got house money in our back pocket. It's time to leverage it against the house. So we're going to do it on Friday. We're going to do it on Saturday. We're going to do, you know when we're going to do it. We're going to do it every damn day. You guys already know what I'm going to do until I get back to you. I'm going to get back to getting this cash.